Hello all, and welcome to your very own Tech and More. Hope you guys are doing awesome. So, guys, today in this video, we are going to talk about the concept of exploratory testing, and we're going to see a practical example as well. Now, why I came up with this idea is because I see a trend nowadays that a lot of questions are being asked around exploratory testing because of the popularity it's gaining in the industry. So I thought, why not create a detailed video on it? So I can confidently say that if you are not aware about the concept of exploratory testing in general, and you just have a look at this entire video because we're going to discuss the practical examples as well. If you do, you need not go anywhere else and you'll be able to answer the questions well in your interviews or even perform testing in your projects. Okay. So without any further ado, let's get started. So quickly, the itinerary of this particular video or the flow is going to be, we are going to start with the concept of exploratory testing in general, right? Then we're going to talk about when is it actually required. After that, we jump on to the pros and cons of exploratory testing, post which we have a look at the basic flow or the basic process involved in this type of testing. And lastly, which is I feel the most important part of the video, that is we pick up a website which already has bugs in it, and we are going to test that particular website, find bugs in it using the concept of exploratory testing, right? So stay tuned, and all the resources, the website that I'm talking about, the any relevant content or anything that you want is will be shared in the video, so you need not worry about the links or anything. So yeah, I think that's all. We are good to start, and you can refer to the description for the details. And please, guys, if you feel that the content is helping you, do share it, subscribe it. I mean, this sort of keeps us motivated. And one more thing. So we are coming up with a new live training session on business analysis, QA, Salesforce development, test automation, everything. I mean, a typical IT cycle. So if you are interested in any of these domains and you want live training sessions with me and some other folks who are experts in their particular domains, we'll be more than happy to help you. So I'm going to paste the link of that Google form wherein you can put in your details, and we'll reach out to you for the trainings and all the details, right? So yeah, let's get started. First of all, I am going to go to the definition of exploratory testing. So as the keyword suggests, the word explore, that is, when you go ahead and you explore an application, that is what makes exploratory testing. In simple words, exploratory testing is a dynamic approach wherein testing is simultaneous with exploring applications, emphasizing freedom and adaptability, right? As a reference, we are going to use ET instead of exploratory testing in the video because it's a little long. Yeah. So that's that. Now, this definition looks good and everything is fine, but I want to give you a better context, right? So what actually we do here is, let's suppose if I go to, I don't know, maybe this website, right? This is a sample e-commerce website, and I simply navigate to the application. I click on this button, and you see that it's an e-commerce website, as I already mentioned. I just simply go ahead and I feel, okay, you know what, let me add a product, or this was an error, just ignore this. So I'll say, okay, let me add this product, let me increase the quantity, let me add to cart, and that's all, right? And then maybe I go back to the homepage again, and then it's taking a little time, and then maybe I scroll down, I click on these buttons. I need to verify whether these buttons are working or not. Maybe I have a look at the dimensions of the images, right? So similarly, so wherein there is no particular guidance or there is nothing written particularly. I mean, you do not have your standard testing practices that you have a requirement analysis, then you do the test case designing, then you go with the bugs and everything. So opposite to that, that is, you're just going into the application and randomly testing it, right? So that is what makes exploratory testing, right? I know I can confuse you with a lot of technical terms, but I always believe in keeping things as much simple as possible. So all in all, consider exploratory testing wherein you have an application in front of you and you just simply start testing without any guidance, without any process, without any details, right? As per your understanding, as per your mind, you go ahead and start testing. That's all. And you start encountering the bugs, right? So now it's not your conventional testing. That is something we already discussed. So you need not have the test scripts defined as such. You need not have these, I mean, the detailed scenarios or the detailed documentations. This is something that you can do at your own end without putting in a lot of documentations, right? So it involves the exploration of the application. Guys, just give me a second. I'm going to make this white, and I'm going to try to because I'm using this thing for the first time, this particular whiteboard thing. So yeah, I think this works. Cool. So exploratory testing is basically the exploration of the application without any predefined test scripts, right? I think we're clear with that. I think we're good with that, right? So the second thing that we ought to understand here is the next step, which is power of exploratory testing, right? So as per a research, going to zoom it a little. So as per a research, it says that ET, which is exploratory testing, it does a better job at catching complex bugs by testing 2 or 3 more data sets as compared to test case based testing. What is this? So let me take you to a sample web page, or maybe okay, let's go here. This is a sample login page, right? And when you write down the test cases, you ought to, I mean, when you're writing and everything, yeah, right, you ought to limit your inputs, right? Maybe you will enter, let's say, Tekken more, right? And maybe you just enter Tekken more 1 2 3, that is alphanumeric, or maybe you just enter numbers, or maybe you keep it blank or something like that, right? Because when you're writing down something, you ought to limit yourself, because somewhere you feel a little lazy or a little laid back. Okay, who is going to write down these different sort of combinations of input, right? But when I say, okay, there are no test cases involved per se, you just have to start testing directly without writing down the test cases. Somewhere you have more freedom, somewhere you are more relaxed, and you will try a lot of different combinations, right? So maybe you can try it with Tekken more. I'm sorry, with Tekken more, right? Maybe you can try it with the tech 1 2 3 4, or maybe you can try it with tech some special characters, right? Or maybe you can try it with, I don't know, maybe caps, right? Something like that. So when you are not asked to write down the test cases per se, the better thing is that you will go ahead and you will try more inputs, because you're testing on the go. You do not have a document to refer to, you're testing on the go, right? So as a result of a research, it and here's the research link as well. I am going to share the link in the description as well, so don't worry about that. So there's a research that says, I'm going to go ahead and help you with this URL as well, because I want you to have a logical explanation of everything. So this is what the research says. It says that in the case of exploratory testing, a person is bound to find more complex bugs, if not simple, more complex bugs, because we enter more data sets. If you see here, we enter more data sets, right? As I already told you, when you, let's suppose, if you're to test the login page, you will go ahead and you will try different combinations when you need not worry about writing down those test cases, right? And I'm sure if you have written down test cases in your project, you somewhere feel that, okay, I mean, why not test it directly? Of course, the procedure and testing, writing down scripts and everything is important, but this different type of testing is something which is very crucial, and this is the best part, and because of this we are able to identify more bugs, right? Then the next subtopic is testing in the moment. As I already told you, that when you test, I mean, I give you this URL and I tell you that go ahead and test it, right? You need not worry about the test strategy. You need not worry about the test plan. You need not worry about the test cases, test scripts, test steps, right? You simply go here and as per your logical mind, as per your experience, as per your thought processes, just start testing. For example, on the login page, you might test it with special characters, with normal characters, with alphanumeric. You might test it with blank username and password. You might test it by, I don't know, maybe just pressing enter. That's all, right? So you have these. When you start testing, you will have numerous ideas in your mind, and when you do that, that is what exploratory testing is, right? So I hope that what we do in exploratory testing is something which is clear to you. Quickly revising again, it's testing in the moment, testing without any documentations or test cases, right? All in all, it's the exact opposite of your standard or your typical testing process. Okay, cool. So that is what exploratory testing is. Now, a critical question, that is, when should you perform exploratory testing? Because this is very critical, right? Because yes, it's fun. Yes, it's less exhausting, but that doesn't mean that we go ahead and perform exploratory testing everywhere, right? Because if that was the case, then why is the entire IT industry so much dependent upon the IT or the testing processes? For example, requirement analysis, or maybe drafting out a test strategy or a test plan, designing a test case, designing test steps, the test case template, all those things, right? So of course that is very critical. And trust me, 80% of the entire testing is dependent upon the standard testing process that we have that I just told about. But yes, uh, in some cases, exploratory testing is very critical and very helpful. What are those cases we're going to see? So exploratory testing is a valuable approach for quickly understanding a product or application, allowing testers to provide rapid feedback. So these are the 2 pointers. Number one is whenever you feel that the end client or the end users have to get a context of the application, right? So let's suppose if you built a solution for them, maybe in Salesforce or maybe an e-commerce application like this, or maybe I don't know, maybe a login page or something, and you want their rapid feedback and you want to educate them on the application as well, right? So you want them to just go through the application and get themselves well versed. So why not tell them that uh, when you're going through the application, right, to well verse yourself, why don't you provide us a rapid feedback and bugs if you encounter any? So that's just achieving two things with one effort, right? So they will be able to get themselves well versed with the application, and whatever bugs or issues they encounter, they'll be able to get back to you and share them as well. Okay, so that is the case when you use exploratory testing. Now, I mean, I have the details of benefits of rapid testing here. I mean, exploratory testing. I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. All in all, just understand wherein you need a rapid response for the end user, and you want them to want to educate them as soon as possible. That is where you use exploratory testing, right? So all these pointers are basically details of it, right? And what I'll do is I'll share this deck with you in the video description as well, so you can go through this content if you want. Okay, cool. This is all written in detail. Cool. So now learning a little bit about exploratory testing process, right? So again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a shape for you, because somewhere I feel that might be this is more helpful to you to understand. Okay. So the color is white. I have to make it black because the background is white as well, right? So yeah, as I was saying, there is a process involved with exploratory testing. That is, you have to follow a process. So first one is create a bug taxonomy. What is that? So taxonomy, and believe me, I I always believe in keeping the words as simple as possible, right? This is not an intent to complicate it for you. I could find a good graphic only with the word taxonomy written here, and on a lot of articles on a lot of websites this word is used. But in easier words, taxonomy is basically category, right? So when you create bug categories, right? Note an FYI to you, we have not started the testing yet in this process, right? It is all happening before the testing. Okay. So the first step is that you create a bug category. That is, it can be functional bugs, UI UX bugs, integration bugs, right? So there are different types of bugs also, right? So let me go here and let me show you those categories. So we have this type of bugs. I find this beautiful website. I mean, it's an awesome website, trust me, right? So because it lets you practice testing, it lets you help in in practice finding bugs and everything. So that's it's very good. You should refer this. I'll attach the URL as well. So yeah, coming back to types of bugs, you can have functional bugs, you can have visual or UI UX bugs, you can have performance bugs, you can have crash bugs, that are major bugs, right? So apps can close unexpectedly. So basically, you create a taxonomy or a category. So when you encounter bugs during exploratory testing, in which categories are you going to keep them? That's stage number one. Stage number two is test charter. That is, you, as opposed to a test strategy or a test plan, which is genuinely or usually a very lengthy document, create a test charter that is just a quick summary of how this exploratory testing is going to go, what is going to be the timeline, what is the expected result, and all of those things, right? Then you have a time box, right? So time box, as the name suggests, you have to come up with a time limitation or a time specification that was okay, in next 24 or in next 48 hours we are going to complete the exploratory testing, right? And the last one is review and interpret results. That is, I mean, that's obvious. So that is wherein you start your exploratory testing and you start identifying the bugs. You start putting them in the category here, right? In this category, right? And then that is how the flow goes. So that is how typical flow of exploratory testing would look like. So I hope that this particular process is clear to you now. And even if it's not, what I would suggest that you go ahead and review this video again, or in the sections that you feel that you need more information, do that. And even after that, let's suppose if you have a doubt or if you have a question, please feel free to ping me at any point of time. You can do it via comments on YouTube video, or you can ping me on LinkedIn as well. I'm always available there. I'll be more than happy to help you in any way possible, not only for this topic, but in general in your career growth as well. Cool. So the rest slides are basically talking about these stages in detail, which we've already discussed. I'm going to share this deck with you. So the intent is that if you need more details, you can refer to these things. Okay. So yeah, I think these are the stages that we've already discussed. Then talking about the pros and cons, the first or the major pro is that you have a flexible approach. Trust me, which is very important, right? So when you have a flexible approach, you ought to test more, right? Because when you are somehow restricted by the test cases, maybe you do not, and this is human psychology, this is not specific to anyone, maybe you will go ahead and you will only limit yourself to the test cases which are already designed, right? Because you feel that, okay, if I think of one more test case, I'll have to go and write it again, right? Somehow that thing restricts your scope, scope of trying it with different inputs. But when you're exploratory testing and when you need not write down anything, document anything, you just need to do hardcore testing, right? That is when exploratory testing is of huge use, right? Because you can get out more bugs out of it. So the flexible approach. Then the next is there is a con, and the con is something which we, while talking, we did talk about the documentation, the lack of documentation, which we treated as a pro, as a benefit, but only in 20% time of the entire testing, right? So if you're testing an application, 20% of the scenarios or 20% of the testing can be done using exploratory. That too at the end. But when you start, you have to follow the standard testing processes, that is analyzing requirements, going on with the test cases, writing them down, raising bugs, providing inputs, providing updates, everything. Because guys, if standard testing would have been that bad, when the IT cycle started, when the IT industry started, there was no process earlier, right? But then we came up with the process, and that has been helping us big time. So if it had been so bad, the organizations would not have been following it. We would not have been learning it, right? So standard driven or process driven testing is something which is very critical. And mind you, 80% of the testing has to be done in that manner, right? So that is a drawback. So in cases where we have already discussed, that is where it is beneficial. That is where you can go and use exploratory testing. So these are the pros and cons. Okay. Okay, now coming to the last section of the video, that is tools that you require for exploratory testing. So we have a plugin which goes by the name of Sigma. I'm so sorry. It goes by the name of Spira Capture, right? Don't worry. Again, I'm going to share the URL to this plugin in the video description. So you can go ahead and install it. It's a Chrome plugin. So with the help of this plugin, while you're testing, right? Why do you need this plugin? Because when you have test cases and you have everything already written, you ought to have some sort of reference, right? So you can refer to that test case, that test step. You have an error, you raise a defect in a standard manner. So it can be tracked all in all. But with the case of exploratory testing, when you're just testing out of nowhere, random testing, right? So in that particular point of time, you have to have a tool which will record everything that you do. You can make some notes as well while testing. And once your testing session is complete, then you go ahead and you share those bugs with the technical team, right? So all in all, in very easy manner, it's a tool which will help you to record your error screenshots and your notes on the go. That is while you're testing, right? And it will keep a track of it as well. So this is how the tool looks like. But before that, I'm going to take you to the website wherein I'm going to perform some exploratory testing, right? And we are going to use the tool at the same time. Cool. So you need not worry about the previous slide, Spira Capture. This is a screenshot. We are going to see this tool live. Okay. So this is the website, right? And let me go to find bugs and let me initiate the plugin as well. So this is Spira Capture. I will click on start capturing and I am on this web page. I want to start the exploratory testing, and somehow it came into my mind that why not go ahead and select a product, right? So I'm going to go and select this product, right? Do you see that the website says that it is a bug? What is the bug? The product image fills the box entirely. And I mean, the other images. So let's go and compare it. Close this. So, and a good thing about this website is that while you're testing, it will help you and it will tell you that where the bugs are encountered, right? So when I clicked on this, it said that it's a dimensional bug, image dimensional bug, right? So if you compare this image with others, the all the other images are of the same size, but this one is a little small, right? So that makes it a bug. So I felt okay. I clicked on a product and I encountered this bug. Why not go into the same flow and see more, right? That is the best way of exploratory testing, right? Instead of just randomly testing here and there, because by that you ought to miss out on a couple of things. If you encounter bug in one of the flow, get into more detail, right? So I click on it. I already encountered this bug, and let me close it, close this as well. And now I navigated to the product description. Now I feel, okay, why not I go ahead and I click on the X icon, right? Oh, that's a bug again, right? So I feel, okay, maybe if I'm not able to access the X handle or the Twitter handle, am I able to access the other? So that, see, that is how you create a chain reaction. So first of all, you clicked on the product, then you went into it when you found a bug, then you clicked on the Twitter icon, and again it was a bug. So now you, what the logic says, that let me test out the related things to social media handles, right? So if I click on Facebook, I'm able to navigate to it, right? That is working fine. If I click on maybe this icon, I should be navigated to it. That is MySpace, right? So this is how you get into it, right? So once you test all these social media icons, then you go ahead and you maybe click on add to cart, and you then click on add to cart button, right? So this is how you go into a flow. And this is how, on the basis of a bug encountered, you think of the more related scenarios, and then you keep on going into the flow or keep on going into more depth. So that is how exploratory testing is performed, right? So this is how you, I mean, how you would do it. But when it comes to using a tool, so you click on the plugin here and you click on Spira Capture. It will give you an option that I already did it, right? So now we started the recording, and herein I'm clicking on stop capturing. And herein you can write down the notes as well. So for example, ABCD or test, something of that sort. And then you stop capturing, you take a screenshot as well. Now stop capturing and click on view data. So herein you have the data, right? That is wherein the different screens and everything will be present over here, and you'll be able to see each and everything clearly, right? So later on, when you're done with exploratory testing, you'll be able to go ahead and review your screenshots, review your problems, review the issues that you got, and you'll be able to share it in a much more detailed manner, and you'll not forget anything, right? So that is how typically exploratory testing is done, guys. And I hope that this quick video on exploratory testing, understanding the concepts along with a practical example, was helpful to you. And now, if any day any question from exploratory testing is asked to you in your interviews, or you are supposed to do this in your project, you'll be able to do it, right? So thank you again for watching the video, and I hope that you like the content. Any comments, any feedbacks, please feel free to share on the video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the video, and see you in the next one. Thank you.